Goldpin Coca to the 1990 Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic, coming to you from Browns Plains, Tenpin. This is the first of the step-ladder finals. Terry Wojtal from New Zealand up against Tony Kelly from Brisbane. On the way to this step-ladder final, Wojtal beat Wenban and Jeanette Baker, while Kelly beat Pat Woolwork and Jenny Hertrick. Here's his first delivery in a step-ladder final. Not a bad effort, Jeanette.
No, it's a very nervous start for Terry. He's a little bit hanging on to the ball, a little bit late with the thumb, and consequently the ball, as we see there, late, right out on the lane, very, very deep. The ball swings back over to the Brooklyn.
No mistake with the spare. And of course, Jeanette Baker was one of the persons beaten by Terry Wojtal. This is Tony Kelly, nicknamed Pablo, 30 years of age. 4th place in the Brisbane Cup this year. Made it to the round 6 in the high roller in Las Vegas, which is first prize in this tournament, plus $5,000. 2 times a Queensland state team member. Last year he was beaten by Dana Miller-Matty in a great match. This year he's into the step-ladder final.
Oh, a little bit light on that shot. The headpin looked just a fraction sitting left of its spot, and consequently Tony going light, as we see down the lane, just coming up, just touching the headpin, but not getting the mix he required for 10 pins.
Definitely a battle of nerves between these two. They seeded 20th and 21st respectively. Done a great effort to get this far. Tippy toes over the foul line and converts the spare.
Dame Margot Fontaine edged your heart out.
Yeah, that certainly was. Twinkle toes. Let's have a look at it.
See if we can see what caused it. Good push away, full swing, set into the shot. Little bit the ball moved from inside out, and Tony pulled himself off balance, but the ball was gone after he moved.
This big strike, unlucky there. Look at him, down, very emotive.
Absolutely. I mean, we're down to the tight end of the tournament now, where the top players are playing off. Tony's shot hits the pocket. Watch the 5-pin, goes over, gets spoiled by the 4-pin coming out of the channel. Consequently, 7-pin left on its own.
On the way here, he beat Pat Woolwork 180 to 141 and Jenny Hertrick 168 to 160. Oh, look at that. Dead centre on that spare.
Perfect cover. Right in the middle of the pin on the spare.
Terry Wojtal, a 17-year-old from Papatoetoe in Auckland. He is a machine operator, only international competitor in this field, and at 17 shown great composure. He beat Terry Wenban 189, 176, and of course you, Jeanette, 204 to 166 to make it to this step ladder final. Oh dear.
He sent it out wide enough, but perhaps a little bit of fingers, not enough fingers on that shot, and it went out and it stayed out. Didn't quite come back far enough.
Have a look at his style here.
That broken elbow coming through the ball really hard. Weight back on the heels, which does help the ball to skid further. Whoa. Could be a nervous shot then, Chris. He should have made sure it won so early in the game. Get ready to get up and execute good shots now. He'll probably be looking to get the base of a double to cover that open frame.
Never really looked likely here. We watched the ball, just continued wide. Interesting enough, in the previous 2 matches, Tony Roderick, his coach over here, was with him. This time, Tony's warming up.
Yeah,
gets a strike. Yeah, he's pumped up now. He knows that he can start a foundation with that effort.
The big advantage that Terry's got is he can send it out, hits it hard, much better through the shot. Coming back and 6-pin finishing over the left-hand side of the lane. Perfect execution. Back it comes into the 5-pin. Last pin off the deck's the 6-pin.
Let's have a look at Pablo's reply. Perfect delivery.
All right, he's gritting his teeth. He may start striking for us. This time, ball goes through better elevation through the shot. Touches the headpin lightly, gets the mix. The hardest one for him, the 7-pin, moves out lightly.
Tony Kelly in front in the first of the step-ladder finals in the 1990 Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic. Back with more on Nine's Wide World of Sport. 1990 Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic. At this stage, Tony Kelly from Brisbane leading Terry Wojtal from New Zealand. Kelly about 13 pins in front. Both players coming off a strike. So imperative, Jeanette, to keep this run rolling.
Yes, he needs one more, get his confidence. And
He's got it.
The double.
Very expressive too, and the crowd getting right behind him. A very likeable character from Albany Hills in Brisbane.
As we see the shot straight down 10 boards, through the second arrow, and a solid shot. As we see on the side there, good knee position, rides it, yes. He says, I got the double.
Of course, the winner of this contest through to play Mark Ramsey in the second step ladder final. The loser, $1,000. Went Brooklyn.
He's actually lucky to break up a split that time. Ball inside target, consequently hitting the Brooklyn side for the left-hander. As we see, he'd been sending it out through second arrow. That one was inside second arrow, landing on the oil in the middle of the lane and stopping on his Brooklyn side. Ooh.
No margin for error that time. Coat of varnish in that.
He used the hard case ball to go for the spare, which was right, but he gave it perhaps a little bit too much room, just nicking it on the left-hand side of that pin.
This is the 17-year-old from Papatoetoe in New Zealand. Enjoys motor car racing and fast cars.
Come on.
Ooh, he called the ball to come on, but it came on a bit too much, leaving him the baby split on the left-hand side. Now it's got down to this stage, I think Terry's age may show through. He's only 17. He bowls the ball very, very well, but experience will be a factor now.
Is this a harder or an easier split for a left-hander?
It's a relatively simple one, seeing he's using the hard case ball. Whoa, too much room, too much room. Should only be an adjustment from that front pin, but he aimed more towards the 7-pin. Just taking out that left-hand side, he kept sliding.
So now a golden opportunity for Tony Kelly, 30 years of age. Enjoys his touch footy as well as bowling.
Ooh, another light shot on that lane, possibly giving it a fraction too much room, trying to make too sure of it. It's very easy to swing the ball through, as Tony does, but we hear that slight pop from the thumb hole, which means he was gripping the thumb a little bit too much and the pin's sliding around on the deck. Thumb pointed in the right direction, so he got at least to make the pocket. Ooh. He didn't look comfortable at the foul line then, shooting that spare. This is where nerves are really starting to play havoc with these guys. As we see.
He's forgotten it's his turn to go, you see.
Yeah, I mean, he really reared up on that shot, and he wasn't too sure whether it was going to make it to the corner or not. But fortunately for Tony, it made the corner, converted the spare, and he's now sitting 25 pins in front.
Let's see that from the start. Flush on the head pin.
Nasty split at this stage of the game.
Take two.
Well, always take two to be sure. When you're in front, you're better off. There the ball goes inside his target. He hit the second arrow that time, consequently through the beak, and he leaves the 6, 7, 10. Ooh, he looked like he was going to have a go.
Successfully takes out the 2 and almost got that third one. Now an opportunity as Kelly takes a break for the young Kiwi, 17 years of age. His mother, Jean, one of the great New Zealand representative bowlers, so he's followed in his mother's footsteps. Great performance, just his second trip to Australia. Oh, yes. This will give the man some confidence, or the young fella.
Well, we've seen him do it before in previous matches. You know, he comes back at the end very, very strong. He sends the ball that time out through the second arrow, coming up and crunches it in the pins.
We'll take a short break here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Terry Wojtal down by 31 pins, but making a comeback.
In the Coca-Cola Classic using wrist supports. The purpose of these supports is to assist with their release. This particular one assists the bowler with a quick thumb release and a lot of rotation on the fingers when there's a lot of oil. There are many types available for different lane conditions and for different bowlers.
Welcome back to the 10-pin bowling action from Nine's Wide World of Sports. We're at the Browns Plains 10-pin. Both bowlers, Terry Wojtal and Tony Kelly, very tense at the moment. We're at a crucial stage of this match, Jeanette.
Well, with Terry, with his previous games, it's as if he sort of likes to get comfortable in there and then he starts to hit out towards the end. So he's finished his 6th frame, he's now in his 7th frame. He has to go from here. Come on! Ooh. The pins broke up all right, but not necessarily in the way he wanted them to. Again, it's age versus experience as we see. Elbows the ball out, still not outside second arrow, so consequently the ball jumps up through the nose, gets a bit of mix on the back row. Oh, completely missing the 2 pins on the right-hand side. The ball just straightening up and going straight through the middle on him.
It's pressure time. The money part of the tournament. We watch again. Spare ball going straight between them. The plan was there to take the 2 on offer.
It was there. He was
Bad
aiming
execution.
for those. Solid shot, Tony. Absolutely solid. The best shot he's thrown on that right-hand lane in this game.
And that's the way to do it when you're on coming off an open frame. Get a platform, a strike, the perfect way to do it.
Solid. Thumb come out nice and early that time. Use the fingers, and the desired result was all 10 pins off the back of the deck.
This is Tony Kelly from Albany Hills in Brisbane, looking to advance to the 2nd step ladder final.
A washout. The left-hand lane is moving just a fraction more for the bowlers around the head pin area. So after having a good solid shot, Tony gives it a little bit of room as we see the ball goes out to the right of the 2nd arrow, but he turns his head down. He knows it's not going to come back from out there. Consequently, a washout.
Gettable?
It's attainable. The odds are about 15 to 1.
Let's see if we can do it. Beat the odds. 3.
It's 3. It's better to be sure than sorry at this stage of the game.
Is it too late for Terry here?
Well, if he strikes out from here, he's got a 187 game. Whereas if Tony Kelly strikes out, he's got a 202. So the game is not going to be over, really, until the 10th frame is bowled.
This is Terry Wojtal's 8th. Needs to get something started, but still hasn't found the right shot in the pocket.
No, he just seems to be going more down the lane and relying upon the ball to come up instead of trusting it to go out. As we see this shot here, that 2nd arrow, if that ball is to the left of the 2nd arrow, that's when he seems to be hitting the pocket. Otherwise, there's the result. Through the nose, and he's left 3 pins. Good spare. Good spare.
That'll give the young 17-year-old from Papatoa in Auckland a bit of confidence. He still really needs to get moving here. He's giving his opponent a 35-pin start. And running out of frames.
Exactly. He needs to put some pressure back on Tony here. Right idea, but just an overcorrection once again by giving it too much room. As we see the ball go out a little bit too far and not quite back. And of course, with the technique that Terry is using, which is a muscled shot, right? The broken elbow indicates that. Then he's got to be very careful with it. Ooh, once again, straightening up way too much on that spare and only taking 1.
Really, the pressure starting to get to him now. This is where Tony Kelly's 17 years of bowling comes to the fore.
He's a very cool customer, Tony. He knows what he has to do. He believes that if he makes enough good shots, right, the result will be his. And he's made some very good shots this game.
Yeah, that's an example of one of them. He is pumped up now. He knows he's got this game.
Exactly. And, of course, when you've got your confidence, the best thing to do is to finish strong, come home with solid shots, as we see here. Through the target, release up into the pocket, and the pins all disappear. Now, there's almost perfect at the foul line. The toe in line with the knee, and then the strike. There it is, a way to go.
A happy Tony Kelly. We'll take a break here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Back with the conclusion of this match shortly. Final in the step ladder series of the 1990 Coca-Cola Classic continues here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. This is Tony Kelly. He is safely through to an encounter with Mark Ramsey next. He really now, Jeanette, needs to build up his confidence, get a few strike out here, 3 strikes in a row, punch it out to a 200 game.
Absolutely. Oh, on the over. Holds his hand up to the sky and says, well, there you go. On the over, on the Brooklyn side, but they all fell down, as we see. Just straight on that 10 board that time, on the over, all went down. There it is, he says. Because we saw a match the other day with Pablo where he was hitting the pocket all game, but he wasn't getting the strikes.
See if he's corrected.
Oh. That's where the injustice of this game comes, is that you can hit the Brooklyn, which is really not a good shot, and you can get a strike. And yet, as we see here, much better execution to the right of the second arrow. The ball comes up, hits the pocket, and there's the 10-pin. A conversion here would give Tony a score of 191.
He did that against Jenny Hertrick. Successfully completes his 10th frame. Score of 191. That's too good for Terry Wojtal, who, if he strikes out, makes 150. Disappointing finish for him. But still, the young man has acquitted himself very well, Jeanette.
Very strong learning experience for him. Ooh, 8 count. We must remember he's only 17 years of age. The youngest competitor, other than Terry, in this tournament was 19. And considering the lack of exposure that Terry has to competitive bowling in New Zealand as opposed to what we have available here in Australia, he's done brilliantly.
There it is. Nice to see the youngster finish. We'll get an extra delivery here. And as you said, a great learning experience for him.
Exactly. That time he gave the ball direction, but he also gave it a little bit of fingers and consequently covered the spare.
Let's not forget he only turned to the senior ranks in May of this year.
Long way to go. Ooh.
Disappointing finish. Only 6 pins for the young man. He bows out. Terry Wojtal beaten in the first of the step ladder finals by Tony Kelly, 191 to 136. Tony Kelly moves on to play Mark Ramsey, while Terry Wojtal picks up $1,000.